So you want to live off grid, eh? This is what I told Spirit a couple years ago. And I ended up buying a camper at the end of 2020. And we went traveling back and forth across the country. Across Canada. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times with the camper. Oh my goodness. I'm Holly, and I'm bringing some courage. I'm sharing a part of my journey to bring courage and inspire you on yours. So we went across the country and we ended up living in a campground. Just myself, my son, and our 2 dogs. And he was only 5 at the time. And we loved it. It was over the winter too. And so we're in the mountains, on a river, in a campground, chopping wood, having fires, drinking beers with the boys. There's like a couple other people that they were staying like kind of across from us. And then there was like other people around the other side. The one guy had a hot tub, so we'd go and hang out in the hot tub. And it was amazing. And then the minus 40 degrees Celsius weather hit. I don't know what that is Fahrenheit. Probably like minus 20 or something. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up. And so minus 40 degrees comes. And you know what? My camper is 4-season, insulated underbelly, thermal windows. It was pretty sweet. Like, we loved it. And the water lines were great until the one day. And I go under the trailer. I didn't even have it skirted. I didn't have it. I would buy an Arctic Fox again anytime. I even flipped that baby into the ditch. The tow truck pulled it right back over, and we kept driving. I had to replace the coupler and the tongue jack and a couple things. But like, it didn't like yard sale all across the ditch or anything. It was amazing. Arctic Fox. I will contact you for a commercial. And so I look underneath and there was one elbow under the trailer that was exposed. So I got out my hair dryer and I went and it thawed it out. So it's just the one little spot. That was the only issue. So then I'm like, well, I guess I should probably try to skirt it a little bit. So what I did was I had some Tyvek, which is like house wrap. So it's like the white flappy stuff that you see when guys are building houses, and it's like the wrap that they put on the plywood before they put the siding or the brick or whatever's going on the outside, on the exterior. So I had a couple rolls of that. So I tuck taped that to the base of my camper to skirt it, and then I put a space heater underneath. Well, the guy that was staying across from us, oh wait a minute, before this, okay, let me back up a little bit. So we just get to the campground. I get a text message from my dad the next day. He's like, is this where you're staying? I was like, yeah. And he sends me this article that a woman was just killed in the park on the path. And I was like, what? This is New Year's Eve when we got there. And so yeah, the cops were investigating and everything. And I guess it was maybe snowmobilers on the trail for like a New Year's Eve. I don't know if they saw her or not. I'm not sure if they ever caught the people that did it. And so I was like, okay, so this is where we moved to, eh? But it was like a one-off thing, right? It wasn't like a planned whatever. And then I don't even know if it was 2 weeks after we got there, my water heater blew. So I was like, I was already like, oh my gosh, Because it's me. It's me literally doing everything, right? Single mom since I was pregnant, tried a relationship and, hit all his triggers. Then so that didn't work. And, yeah, I'm like Mr. Fix It, Mrs. Fix It, like Mrs. like laundry, dishes, work, school, teacher. I'm like all the hats, right? And so I was like frustrated at this point. And so the guy said, like, look, just order the water heater. You can like have a glass of whatever wine or vodka, whatever you drink. He's like, you can just have a glass when it gets here, and I'll install it for you. You can shower in my trailer while it happens, because of COVID, all the water homes, like the water houses, the washrooms and the showers were all closed. So we're showering over there. Then he installs the water heater, and then like a month later ish, then we get this like minus 40-degree weather. My water line froze, so I skirted the trailer, and so none of us had water, so we couldn't shower, we couldn't do dishes, we couldn't use the toilet, we couldn't do anything, right? Because the shower houses were closed. So I was like, okay, well, I'll skirt this. We'll go to a bed and breakfast or Airbnb. And so the guy came with us. Well, we went first, and then he came the next day because he had to go to the airport. So I'm like, well, if you want to stay there because you don't have water either, and then I'll drive you to the airport. And then when I get back from all that, then the water lines should be thawed out and we should be good to go. And so dropped my son off at daycare and went to drive him to the airport, and he wanted to stop to buy a new winter jacket. Well, don't we get there, and I had a 2012 GMC Duramax Denali, and it wouldn't start when we came out of the store, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get him to the airport. My truck's not starting. It's minus 40 degrees outside. Nobody wants to crawl under the truck. So we go back into the store, and these guys, because it was a motocross dirt biking store, right? So the guys come out, and they're like, maybe it's your starter. So they're up there like trying to hammer the starter, and I'm trying to start the truck, and it's not really doing anything. And so anyways, my buddy had to end up taking a cab to the airport, which was like another hour away. And I had to get my truck towed. So I towed it to the GM dealership to find out it was a battery. So now in this truck, I have 2 batteries. And for some reason, wherever I took it the last time, they only replaced 1 battery. I know a lot of things, and being the single mom and the, renovator and construction and people communicator, like I can do a lot of things. But when it comes to vehicles, like I passed grade 9 auto, I did my own ball joints and brakes and everything, but could I do it again? Maybe with a YouTube video or 2. So anyways, I had to replace another battery. Went back, picked my son up from daycare, thinking, okay, we're gonna go back to a nice warm trailer with the water flowing, and don't I get back and there is no hydro at all. And I'm like, Spirit, like, I know that I said that one day I want to be off grid, but do you have to do this right now? So of course, first thing I do is, start at the source. Is there power? Or I don't know. I didn't have a tester that would fit that, like the 30 amp plug, or that might have been a 50 amp. And so of course I'm going around the park. Everybody else has power. So I go to the one guy, and he's got the key for the main breaker. So we went in there, and there's power there. Called the electricians, which are like small area. So of course he's fully booked. And I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta do this. And so first of all, I was like, okay, well, tonight we're gonna go to a hotel because I'm not doing this right now. And everything was already freezing in my trailer, like, and so the next day, get back and followed the line from the pole, and it goes into a side panel in my camper, and there's a metal junction box. And so I'm like, okay, well, I've got to move this, and why is this even here? Like, shouldn't it be going to my panel? Thank goodness it went to the box. So I had to get my screw gun in there, and I'm like taking out the screws because it's screwed into the base, like the floor, and it's like this small little compartment. So anyways, I get this out, and isn't it all black and tar inside the junction box? And my morettes were melted, and the wires were melted. Oh, it was a mess. It was such a mess. I am super grateful it was a metal junction box and it was not directly into my main panel, because when I skirted the trailer, I didn't calculate for the extra wattage that was coming from the space heater that I put under the trailer. But I didn't have a treble light. I couldn't do anything else. That was my only option. But I should have turned off one of the heaters in the camper, or just let the propane run. Oh my goodness. So here I am. I had to go and get some morettes and rewire my camper. So I got all that sorted, got the power back on, went back inside, everything was finally warming up. And I had just reached into one of my cabinets to grab probably a drink from the back, because I was like, I need to relax a little bit. I don't drink anymore, but back then I was like, I need to drink just to relax a little bit. And so I grabbed something from behind, just did a little tink to my huge jug of apple cider vinegar, and I go to pick up the apple cider vinegar jug, and psh, the whole full jug all over my camper, like just. And at that point, I was laughing, and I was like, oh my gosh, because I had just said what could happen next. Like, honestly, my water heater blew, my water lines froze, my main power line melted and fried itself, rather than the breaker shutting itself off. Like, does the breaker not work here? And then here's the apple cider vinegar shower all down my camper. And then I remembered that apple cider vinegar removes negative energy and is a toxic cleanser, and it detoxes you as well on the inside, not just removing negative energies. So I was like, okay, so this is the sign from spirit that, like, you had a little taste of off-grid, you know how challenging it's going to be, now what do you think? And it's like, don't worry, it's all over. So this year, we're in a camper again. It's pretty sweet though, like my son's got his own bedroom and everything. It's so cool. Although the Arctic Fox, like, this is a good brand, what I have, but the Arctic Fox, it's just, the water lines that they used were different. There's PEX in here. The PEX freezes. They're not expandable at all. They can crack and break. The other one, the Arctic Fox, has like the expanding compression fit where you almost have to like melt it on. So like the lines expand and contract. So there's not just that, but there's other pluses. So the one we're in right now, we had, well, that cold snap that everybody had, minus 40, minus 35, whatever it was. My water lines froze, like, the first night. My propane regulator froze the first night. I got up and my dog's water was ice. It was like, what is going on here? Like, I didn't think that propane can freeze. I just put on new valves. Maybe there's moisture in the tank. Who knows, right? So of course it's like, oh my gosh. So we have no water. At least there's like shower houses, so we could still do that. No heat. So I had to go outside, and I've got my heating pad, and I'm trying to wrap my heating pad around the regulator and then put a blanket over it, and I'm trying to like get the heat going. And blew the breaker I don't know how many times because I got these space heaters trying to keep it warm in here. And it was probably like the first 3 nights of constantly getting up to make sure that we have heat. And I couldn't sleep because I was like one eye in it. I'm like, is the furnace still on? Like, did I run out of propane? And so what I did was I took a little space heater, it was like a little tiny like this, and I put it at the propane regulator at the top of the propane tank, and I wrapped the blanket around it, but I like left a little opening because the heater needs circulation, right? So I put the little opening where the back of the heater is, and doesn't that fry like a week later? So I just put some electrical tape, because it was just that the cord was being bent a little bit too much, so I put some electrical tape around that. It was fine. And then so there was like a whole day that I had to sleep because it was like 3 days of no sleep. And then, and the guy had warned me, and I was like, it'll be fine. It was also like, I don't want another thing to think about. Well, doesn't my fridge stop working? Because it thinks that it's cold. It's absorption fridge, so it works with the gel. And so it thinks that it's cold enough. So it stopped working. It shut itself off. So I haven't had a fridge for like 2 weeks. But it's been cold enough, so I just put everything outside. But because of that, because of the sudden change in temperatures, some things went moldy, some things froze. So I like had to throw half of my stuff out. Thank goodness I have a chest freezer. And so the outside has been my fridge for the past couple weeks. And I was like, maybe if I just keep the fridge off for a little bit. And tonight I put it on and it works again. Because I'd been trying to put heat out. It was like raining and it was so warm. I'm like, there's no way this fridge can't work. So I just had it off. Like no power to it, no nothing. And it works. So, if you ever think about being off grid, you got to do a test run in a camper, or a yurt or something, because even our neighbor, she goes into the bush in the summer and lives totally off grid, like on a creek. And the guy that was in the campground across from us at the other one, that's what he does in the summer. They have solar panels on the top, and they use the creek or river for their water source. And they got the hydro, and then you just poop in the bush. So there are many variables when it comes to you challenging yourself. And as long as you push through those challenges, you will know how strong you are. Whether others have faith in you and your capabilities or not, don't let that hold you back. You are more capable than you know, and you have no idea your potential yet. So keep pushing yourself, and soon you will know your true potential and where you are to go and what your purpose is here. Enjoy it. Don't be too serious about everything. There is a lot of people out there who might be on their way to jump off a bridge, and you're saying hello or asking how they are as you walk by rather than having your face down in your phone. That could save their life. Figure out how strong you are. Get through the storm. Mwah. Blessings to you all.